Well, I haven't said this in a while, but good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on when you're listening to this. This is the Procast, and welcome. Thank you all for joining me today. You know, I always like to pat myself on the shoulder for the job I'm doing. So, thank you. No, I'm just kidding, of course. But normally when we have the podcast, we're talking sports, but today it's completely. We might talk a little bit of sports, but today we're talking with one of my favorite YouTubers, none other than the Minnesota man himself, Brent Timm. Brent, what's going on, Brent?
Hey Prakash, hey, I'm doing well, man. Thank you so much for having me on the program. That intro music got me pumped up. Let's go.
No, let's go. Well, here's the one thing I love about your YouTube videos. Like, you are just like a ball of energy, man. Like, you're always ready to go. Like, that's what I love about your videos so much. But
I
I
appreciate that,
don't.
man. It really means a lot to me.
Absolute no problem. So I called you the Minnesota man there. I was almost about to call you the Minnesota Miracle Man for you Mighty Ducks fans. I'm not speaking to Gordon Bombay. This is Brent Timm. He is from Minnesota, but he's a citizen of the world. He's like, he tells people he's from. I guess he has like a base in Minnesota. Are you like based? Like, when's the last time you've been back to Minnesota?
Man, I was just thinking about that before this podcast, actually. This is the
Yeah.
longest set of consecutive days I've ever been on the road. I think we're somewhere near 130 days right now, full time traveling without stopping back home. But yeah, Minnesota is where I was born and raised, and that's where my father and my dog are. So that's technically home base. I don't own a home or anything like that. My
Mm.
home is my backpack, but from time to time, I go back to the old folks' home and hang out with my dad, hang out with my dog, see
Yeah.
some old friends, and just kind of reflect on what's taken place the past couple months, and be grateful that I'm uh, have family and friends that I can connect with even when I'm gone. And so I'll probably be back home actually in 3 weeks. We got a couple more chapters left in this summer 2023 escapade, and then it's time to chill for for 6 days actually.
Well, I mean, nonetheless, it's a break. We all need breaks, and you're doing it's like your vlogs. Well, I mean, how often do you post? How often do you try to post?
Well, it really depends on the platform. On YouTube, I'm posting 3 vlogs a week. On Facebook, I'm posting 3 vlogs a week. On Instagram, I'm trying to post at least 5 to 7 reels every week. Throwing some YouTube shorts in there, and we're talking everyday posting on YouTube. And then about 5 TikToks a week, give or take, depending on the content schedule and depending where I'm at. But I can pretty much always guarantee that there'll be 3 YouTube videos every single week.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I look forward. I mean, I look forward to because I work from an office a couple days a week. So during my lunch break, I'm trying to look for a something to watch. Brent Tim, I'm watching it right away if I see
Oh
your
man,
videos up. Yeah, like
I
like
really
that's
really appreciate that, man. It's great to meet someone that enjoys what I do so much, man.
yeah, absolutely. And okay, so before we go any further, tell our listeners where they can find you on all the social medias.
Yeah, so as I've discovered for the past couple years, people have a hard time understanding my name when I say it. How to spell it? Am I saying Bert? Am I saying Brett? But on any platform, you can just type in Brent Tim, Brent, and then last name Timm, and I'll pop up. It's Brent Tim Travel on Instagram and TikTok. But just typing in Brent Tim into YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok will take you right to my page, right to the action.
Awesome, yeah. And I mean, some of your videos, I mean, there is a lot of action if you're watching it, like because it's unexpected. like some of the things that you like come across. Like, I mean, recently you're well. I don't want to give away where you are right now if you don't want to tell anybody. But your recent videos are from the Bangladesh series.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
in Bangladesh right now, and I mean, some of those videos, like there's some things that happen in the video that you can't expect.
yeah,
Like,
truly.
yeah,
That's why I love going to these countries where, if I walk around the United States, if I walk around, France, a very little chance anyone's going to interact with me.
hmm
But in countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, the people are so interested, they're so friendly. I think life is all about doing what's going to result in the most. Where am I going to go that I'll be able to tell the most and the best stories from? And in an unexpected place like Pakistan or Bangladesh, man, you never know what's going to happen. If I walk around my neighborhood, I know exactly what's going to happen in Oakdale,
right,
Minnesota. But
hmm
if I walk around a country like one of those amazing places, you can't script it.
right, absolutely. And so, okay, so I mean, we'll definitely talk about Bangladesh and Pakistan and like some of your other um, countries that you visited as well. But let's go back to the very beginning. When did you decide that what, for the foreseeable future, travel vlogging is what I want to do. I want to visit all these amazing countries, and I want to, tell the story that the media is not telling about these countries.
Yeah, so it's a multifaceted. It was a multifaceted decision. So essentially, I left my career, which was in sales. It was in science, about 4 years ago now. But this was something that had been in the works for maybe 6.5 years. It kind of got inspired from a backpacking trip through Thailand, a 3-week trip through Bangkok, Koh Phangan, Koh Tao, Pai, Chiang Mai. And I'd backpacked before, I'd traveled before, but this was really the first trip where like this spark went off in my brain, and I was like, hey, I want to do this for a long time. Like, what's it going to take to be able to travel for an entire year? I thought, okay, I need this amount of money. But as time went on, I was like, I don't want to travel for a year. I'm not going to be able to see everything I want to see in just a year. What can I do to travel for 3 years, 5 years, maybe forever? And the immediate answer was not, I'm going to become a vlogger. I had always enjoyed entertaining people in my life, but it wasn't really until Snapchat came along in 2014, 2015 that I really embraced the idea of creating video content, and got a good reception by my friends with it. And I went to Thailand with Snapchat loaded up. I was like, hey, I'm going to make some stories while I'm here. And the travelers I met loved the stories. They loved being in the stories. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's a path forward for me here. Maybe I can do something with this. And it took on many forms though, because in my first 3 years of traveling, I wasn't as serious as YouTube as about YouTube as I should have been. Even though I told myself I was going to be a YouTuber, I did not dedicate as much time and effort as I needed to. I did not post consistently. I didn't know what kind of stories I wanted to tell. I didn't know who I was on camera. And I wasn't really visiting, I was visiting countries for me at the start, not for my audience. I was going to Europe, I was going to Germany, I was going to Prague, I was going to Switzerland, all these places that I'd always wanted to go for me. But over the past year, 2 years, it's been more about going places for other people, going places where I can highlight people whose stories really aren't getting told, and countries where there's gross misconceptions about them in the worldwide media.
So, okay, so you decided, what was the first country that you ever visited when you were like, I think you said Thailand, correct?
No, that was like my third big backpacking trip. The first time I
Okay,
ever left home by myself was Italy and France.
okay.
I wasn't staying in hostels. I was staying in hotels. Um, had didn't know anything about. I wasn't a food guy. I was just wandering around Europe.
Right. And so you mentioned the hostels, right? And that's kind of like a budget way to travel when you're
Yes.
especially when you're going around. Because I mean, I've seen some of the hotels. Like I think your most recent post from Bangladesh was turned out it was like a $500 hotel, a US dollars. Yeah. So
Yeah, that was
yeah.
a $500 hotel. Full disclosure, if you ever see me at a very fancy place like that, this sorry, I got the hiccups.
No problem.
Oh, I just filmed a street food vlog before I hopped on here, and I got so much ghee and paratha in my stomach. Um, uh, what the heck were we saying?
Oh,
Um,
about the
oh, the
hotel.
hotel, yeah. If you ever
Yeah.
see me in a really fancy place like that, it's definitely a hosted stay, or it was gifted to me. I'm still
Okay.
very much a budget traveler at heart, and so I certainly I can't afford a $500 a night hotel.
Well, I mean, the one thing I watch your videos and not I watch a lot of vloggers, but I mean, I watch your videos, and the one thing I get so jealous about is not that you're like in an exotic place, like that doesn't. It's all the food you eat, man. Like I'm seeing you there, and you're eating like biryani and halim and like some of these like great. You had like a burger series in Pakistan. I mean, I I'm just so jealous. So can you like you said the other day you're gonna have like a 6 day stay in back in Minnesota in a couple of weeks, right? But like, is that one thing you miss? Like all these foods when you're out, like you're eating like biryani and halim and curries. Like when you're eating all these food, then you come back to America and you see like McDonald's. you know, I mean, is there something like is that something you miss when you're away from Minnesota?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, there's flavors that you can't get in Minnesota. You know, Minnesota's Indian, Bangladeshi, excuse me, Pakistani population is pretty small,
Yeah.
and so your dining options are very slim. And you know, I won't say that Minnesota has bad food, but where my father lives, there's not a lot of good exotic places. You know, you can get good burgers, you can get a good steak if you want, but I tell you, man, the prices the prices are the hardest part about going back
Oh
to
yeah. Oh,
America.
that yeah. I mean, I watched. Yeah, I mean, I watched some of your videos, and they're like, I'm quoting a lot from Bangladesh because that's like the most recent what you did. Like you're getting street food for like 100 taka, which is like $1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy prices that would just, I
yeah,
mean, some of those giant bowls, plates of biryani,
yeah.
there's no way in the world that they would ever, you could ever get anything even close to that in the United States.
Right. So I mean, I've been talking a lot. I've been alluding a lot to your Bangladesh trip. So let's get into Bangladesh a little bit. So you did something in Bangladesh that I am like not only am I jealous of all the great food you get to eat, but I'm also jealous of the fact that such a big fan of cricket, but I have never been able to get to like an international match, and you got to go to one. So I'm definitely jealous of that. You got to go to a Bangladesh versus Afghanistan game I believe it was in Sylhet.
Yeah, yeah,
In Sylhet.
that was
I mean,
cool.
okay. So okay, so in the beginning you were saying that you were offered like tickets to a suite at the stadium, but you're a man of the people, so you had to be with the crowd. So first off, let's talk about getting to the stadium from your hotel. And you started off walking. You started off
Yeah,
walking to the game. Yeah,
the stadium was, man, 45 minutes to an hour away.
yeah,
And so I always like to walk for the exercise because you never know what's going to happen on the way too. If I hop in a tuk tuk or a cab, I'm getting from point A to point B pretty quickly. You know, part of the storytelling element is the journey getting there and the people I meet along the way. But you know, if you as you've seen the vlog, nothing could have prepared me for the chaos, the excitement, the
yes.
energy that was in the air that day.
I guess like because it with international games especially like because there's so many different sites within a country like the fans are all hyped up because they really maybe get maybe one or two games a year, like an international match. So like they probably have their local matches that are played there, but like internationals are not something that's probably played very often, in these stadiums because they're. I mean, I guess there's Dhaka, there's Sylhet, there's Chittagong. Like so, when international teams do go there, they have to spread it out, give it for everyone. So
Yeah,
I guess the fans were a little hyped up, to say the least, for a match in their home city.
yeah, and I think I'm struggling to remember. I think Bangladesh had won the first match. Um, and so I mean, yeah, there was just excitement in the air. I guess to them, uh, Afghanistan is a bit of a rival,
Yeah. Mhm.
and so it was just the perfect combination. It was a beautiful day up until it rained.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first match in Sylhet in months, I believe, for international. So people had a lot of pent up energy.
And I mean, I know like a game day of like football here is. I'm in New York. I've been to MetLife Stadium, which is in New Jersey, for like a Giant or Jet game, and I've been to the stadiums, and there's like fans getting in front of the camera, like yeah, let's go, let's go. But and so I can kind of see why the fans would do that. Were like that on your vlog. They were screaming, joy. What is it? Joy Bangla. Is that what they
Joy
say?
Bangla, yeah, yeah.
Joy Bangla. Yeah. So that's what they say. So I mean, so I can understand why. So I don't look at that, but I don't look at that in any way. They're all hyped up to have a game in their home city, and it's even better when your team wins. And I think Bangladesh did win that match.
They won. Yeah, they
Yeah,
they won. As you know, I left before that. I can't
yeah.
even imagine. I would still probably be at the stadium now had I not had I not escaped
It's
when I did.
I mean, I was watching that video, and I get the energy because if you're a big sports fan, you're gonna always have that energy for your team. But I mean, let's get this. So you get to the stadium, and there was like two TikTokers just following you, like, and just taking you around the stadium. Like, what was going on there?
Well, yeah. Once got into the stadium and they took my tickets and whatnot, I was very confused where the gate was. So I was asking people, "How do I get to my gate? Where do I got to go to this gate?" And these two guys who were vloggers, or they're actually we come to find out they were journalists. They told me, "Oh, we'll take you this way, and we'll take you, where the gate is." Well, these guys dragged me all over the place. They said it was one way, and then they said it's another way. Meanwhile, the match is starting, and I'm like, "How are you guys giving me so much wrong information here? What's going on here?" And then I kind of got frustrated because I'm like, "What's the deal here?" And instead of like responding with anything constructive or giving me directions, they just kept like pointing their cameras at me and not even asking me questions, kind of like filming me like I was some sort of wild animal or something. And so they ended up just following me into. They finally found a guy that knew where I needed to go. We got into the stadium, but
Hmm.
then they just kept following me around, kept filming, and usually I don't care, do whatever you want. But I was upset that they weren't helping me. They seemed like they were possibly deceiving me just to film me for longer. And there was no interaction. I mean, if you're gonna film me, at least talk to me or ask me questions or something. But yeah, and then they were just like so close to me, like almost suffocating. And, it was a tense, chaotic situation trying to find my seats. I wanted to watch the start of the match. I had arrived super early just so I could watch the start. And so, I debated including that in the vlog because I always try to show the positive sides of a country and the positive things that happen to me in my videos. But I
Yes.
also think it's important to show what also really happens. And I also think that, I pride myself on my vlogs being, real and raw. And so I thought, well, it's not going to make sense if I cut this part. So I kept it in. And maybe 5 days later, somebody tags me in a Facebook post, and those guys were actually fired.
Wow. I like I was watching. I'm watching that vlog, And I'm just thinking to myself, like, why are they? What are they? What are they? Why are they filming you? Like that was. I mean, did they even give you a? They just filmed you? We're just filming you?
Yeah, just for filming. I mean, they were journalists, and I think they
Yeah.
thought it'd be cool to capture a foreigner at this cricket match. I'm like, well, you guys got like 30 minutes of footage of me. I've talked to your cameras. I've answered whatever questions that you tried to ask me, but they were just very unhelpful and
Hmm.
just frustrating. And it got to a point where like I'm like, man, these are the most annoying guys in Bangladesh I think that I've met. So I don't like to hear that anyone's lost their job, but it's not up to me to determine how the business or how the public responds to the actions of some other people.
Right. Well, and in nowhere we like. Is this like we're trying to put like a negative light on Bangladesh when we're talking? But it was just to me, it was very weird that they were like they were just. Thank God that guy came and helped you get to your seat because you could have been, like you said, you maybe would never made it into the stadium with the way these guys were just putting you in the wrong direction.
And yeah, seriously, man. And like I'm like it was not just fine, and it was not self-explanatory either for a non-foreigner. So
Right.
it was confusing, but it made for a good story, and I found my seat at
Yeah.
the end of the day, and
Yeah.
that's the important part.
So what do you understand? Did you understand a little bit what was going on in the match, like with the game? Do you know the rules, or you?
I know very little, very,
Okay.
very little about cricket. I was in Pakistan when the World Cup was going on, so I tried to pick up some of the details there.
Hmm.
Um, but it'd be like trying to explain, American football to someone that's only grown up watching cricket or
Yeah.
soccer or football. Um, Very hard to understand the logistics, and so I focused on the athleticism. I focused on the energy of the crowd, and
Yeah.
I was there to just to see this just really
Yeah. To see
cool
the
slice.
right to see the because it's I mean in that part of the world, cricket is like I mean cricket is like the religion. It's very it's huge. If you go to India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, even in Nepal,
Yeah,
it's pretty very big. So you have to witness something that a lot of us who grew up over here don't unless we go down to like the Caribbean or something, we don't get to witness it that much. So okay, so you get in the stadium, you know, the one thing that I was like as I'm watching, and you left early because I think you weren't feeling well and that sort of thing. But as you mentioned earlier, if you didn't leave when you did, you probably would still be in at the stadium trying to get out. I was watching your video, your vlog, and they're telling me that like what I'm seeing is that I really hope nothing happens. Like, not to be negative or anything, but like something bad happens here because there's going to be a trampling. There were so many people just like stuffed into that stadium, like they're all sitting on the steps. So if something were to happen, you might have a tragedy.
exactly. That was running through my mind the whole time. I was thinking like, how did we? What is going on here? Why are there people just sitting on the steps? Well, I would come to find out later that it's kind of a free for all. That it's easy to hop the fence, I guess.
Okay.
And so none of those people had tickets.
Yeah.
They had just rolled in, and they were just sitting wherever they could. So I was thankful that I could give someone my seat.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I think you did.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, there was so much security there too. I'm like, all the security, but you're not able to stop just these crazy crowds
Yeah.
from getting in here.
I mean, like I can just think in like in a stadium here that would never happen. But if something were to happen here, like because I mean, if someone were to bring, like you're saying, there's no security, people are just hopping the fence. Well, I mean, people can sneak things in,
Oh,
and
oh yeah, anything,
yeah,
man, yeah.
yeah, and there could be a real tragedy. And there's so many people there, you know. I mean, if you're listening, Bangladesh Cricket Board, I mean, maybe you might want to do put some more security there or something like that because um that really was not safe. And I think I honestly believe you made the right call leaving the game early because that would have probably been like a nightmare. And I can also imagine like if you're leaving with all those with everyone else when everyone else is leaving, how hard it would be to get like a ride back to your hotel.
Oh yeah, and people get excited to see a vlogger. People also like they get excited to see a foreigner. And so
Yes.
I knew how hard it was getting there. And I thought, once I try to get out, especially if Bangladesh wins, with that excitement radiating through
Right.
the crowd, I'm
Exactly.
gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take 6,000 selfies before I even make it out the stadium door, man.
So, I mean, eventually you got out. Eventually, because I feel like you like I don't know. You sometimes you see at the rock concerts where the artist will jump into the crowd and like dive, and everyone's holding him up.
Yeah, the
I was like,
crowd surfing.
yeah, crowd surf. I was like, my man Brent's gonna have to do that to get out. There's no way. There's no way he's gonna walk down these steps. So, um, yeah. So the game, glad you enjoyed the experience, but I need to talk about. There's something in Bangladesh, and I'm pretty sure it's in all of Asia as well. So I I'm wondering to myself if when you are if you're let's say you just take a rest day. You're like, okay, I'm not gonna vlog anything today. I'm just gonna take a rest day today. I'm gonna walk around a little bit. I'm not filming anything. Do people still stop you on the street for selfies when you don't have your camera?
They do. It's a lot less,
Yeah,
but yeah, they definitely get excited. I would play a game in my mind where I would be like, are they taking a selfie because A, they recognize me because I
yeah,
was very thankful that my videos went viral while I was there. B, are they taking a picture with me because they see a guy with a camera and they assume he's a vlogger?
yeah.
Or C, is it because I'm a foreigner? And very very fun game to play because I'd be like, oh, they're like, oh, what's your YouTube name? Like, okay, well, you don't recognize me.
So I mean, I would just like, how many subscribers do you think you got from just like that from those interactions?
Oh man, uh, I don't know because I tell everybody my name and how to follow me, but I guarantee you 90% they get home or they get on their phone and they're like, what was that guy's name? Brett Rim? Brett Birch Rim? They got no clue, man. And
I mean, yeah, because I mean, I do watch quite a few travel vloggers, and I remember one in one of your I think it was like your first video in Bangladesh, or one of your like earlier ones where you were mistaken for Luke Demand, who's another
yeah.
travel vlogger, and I was wondering like, okay, so I think Luke and you were kind of like releasing videos in Bangladesh at the same time, so I think that's maybe why they thought you were him. But I mean, are there many foreigners that visit Bangladesh? Is that like, are they just like happy to see you? That's why they ask for so many selfies, or is it just like, I mean,
No, I mean it's one of the least visited countries in the world. I'm very strategic in the countries that I want to go to,
yeah,
in the sense that at the end of the day, this is my passion, this is fun, but it's also my career. And
right,
so, Bangladesh, just based on population size, I'd wanted to go there.
hmm
But I'd also wanted to go there because one of my best friends had visited and vlogged there almost like 11 years ago,
right,
and his videos did crazy. And back then, 11 years ago, I'm like, what is
11 years,
Bangladesh? I've never even heard of Bangladesh. What
yeah.
is that? What are you doing? And so I wanted to go there for that. But I was originally supposed to go to Bangladesh in November of 2022, but I got typhoid in Pakistan
Oh,
and
okay.
spent 8 days in the hospital in Dubai and couldn't make it. And in that time, two of my peers, I guess we'll call them competitors, Luke Dumont and Harry Jaggard,
Yeah,
went there as well, and their videos did very well. And so that certainly was not going to have any bearing on if I was going to go or not. I certainly think there's all three of us are very different in the way that we present content, and so but I did also realize like, well, I can't go to like make the same videos they made, so I got to be a little conscious and not go. not recreate the footsteps exactly of the same places
Right.
they've gone and whatnot.
Mhm.
But right now, actually, I don't know if you've seen, but one of the biggest travel vloggers, Bald and Bankrupt, he
Yes,
just got
yes.
there a
He's
few
there. Yeah.
days ago. He's there. I think the video is at 1.8 million views. He's there with another larger YouTuber named Backpacker Ben, and they're yeah, I'm watching their videos, and
Right.
very similar to the things I had seen and done there. But everyone has their own unique spin on things. But still, it's one of the least visited countries in the world. Um, my goal with my videos was hopefully to change that.
Right.
Um, I think the videos that are coming out this week that are focusing on some of the nature and more beautiful areas of Bangladesh might do that.
Okay.
Um, but a place like Dhaka, that's a wild city. It's a tough place. It's no secret that there's a lot of pollution there. There's a lot of poverty, and that's not for everybody. Big cities are not for everybody. Just like the United States is its problem. We got Philadelphia with the drug problem.
Yeah.
If I make videos in Philadelphia, not a lot of people are going to want to come to Philadelphia. So yeah, hopefully our videos will have a more positive impact on the tourism economy and just raising awareness at the end of the day that this place exists, these people are here, and in a lot of cases, a lot of people suffering, man.
Well, I mean, Dhaka, Mumbai also I know has a very big the slums. But there is part of Dhaka that I've seen a lot that they talk about that's really really nice. Called I believe it's called Gulshan.
Yeah, yeah,
That's like that's like the like where that's like where the upper class live. So like how like I guess my question always is like disparity. And I mean I'm in New York, so I know we have it here too. Like there's we have Manhattan, and then we have some areas that are not Manhattan. I don't want to like single any out, but um how like in the same city, like in especially in Asia, do you think that okay, there's a Goshan in Dhaka. There's like I think it's South Mumbai where all the movie stars live in it. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But not like in a city like a big city like that. There's sections where like the upper class that like you would think you're like in a I guess a first class nation, and then later on, there not later on, but like in the same exact city, it's the complete polar opposite. I mean, can you like speak to that for like can you speak to that? Like, why is it like okay, upper class, and then maybe a couple miles away, it's the complete opposite of that? Like, what's going on there?
yeah. Well, I mean, Dhaka was crazy in that you could be staying at a five-star hotel, and just around the corner, there's people sleeping on the streets. There's incredible pollution. Um, I think Dhaka is one of those cities that it got built up so quick with so many people that people were just building anywhere that they could. Gulshan in particular is nice and caters to a more upper class crowd because it's very close to the diplomatic area. So the politicians, the government officials are staying there.
Okay, okay,
Businessmen are staying there. And in the case of Bangladesh, it's the second largest exporter of textiles. And so there's this tremendous business economy, and you got all these businessmen coming to visit. And so you got to have a place to house those businessmen. So, in Gulshan, you're going to find the Westin hotels, the $350 a night starting room rates, the sushi restaurants, the steakhouses. You're going to find all the things that are catering to a very, very different class and category of people than 98% of those living in Bangladesh.
so I mean, every city has every city's like that. I don't want to like there's one city where everyone is just like that around the world, and Dhaka is no different. I want to move to like a couple more experiences you had in Bangladesh. Um, the one, the Barbie movie. I mean, what was that experience like? What was that experience like?
Man, I think that's my best performing video from Bangladesh. People really love
Oh, really?
Barbie. Uh, that was cool. You know, I don't really have much time to watch movies on the road. Um, you know, I'm not going to be all, oh, I'm a workaholic or something like that. But you know, I do work with a certain sense of urgency, and so don't have a lot of time to watch movies. Nor in a lot of the countries I go to, there's you know, the movies are dubbed or whatnot. But I got an invite to the Barbie movie because I had partnered with this hotel, and the owner of the hotel had owned this chain of theaters. Like, hey, you want to go to the Barbie movie? There'll be some like other influencers there.
Right.
And man, up until I I wasn't even like sure I was gonna go, just because like I was a little burnt out from, I don't know, I was sick or dealing with God knows what. A recurring theme of all my videos is my uh, constantly getting myself sick. Um, And I was like, oh, you know, well, are we just going to walk in and see the movie? Like, what kind of content is there going to be to create? But I thought, nah, you know, let's go have some fun. And it blew all my expectations away. There were people there that had 2 million Instagram followers. There were, you know, the equivalent of Bangladesh Hollywood actors there. There was one creator that I had looked up to and followed for a long time that I got to meet. And it was a lot of cool people. If I had to do it all again, I would have dressed a little fancier. But it was a good time. Met some great people. Obviously, the audience really liked that. I must say though that the Barbie reels and the Barbie YouTube video, I've never seen more angry, hate-filled comments
Oh
uh,
wow.
than I have from the Barbie movie. Man, that whatever it is about that movie, it set some people off.
No. Oh, I never would have thought that actually. That I guess I don't know. And so the Barbie movie, you had an excellent time at the movie. Um, I want to talk about one more experience you had that I thought was like it just shows you like the humanity of people. Um, so it's Eid, and that family, the man you met at like one of the, I guess it was like a butcher house where you met him, like a butchery.
No, and just like
Oh
for Eid and you know, a lot of Muslim majority countries, they are slaughtering the goats and the cows right in the
yeah,
middle of the street. So I was just walking down a busy street and, you know, saw this slaughtering, for lack of a better word, you know, these sacrifices to Allah. And I was like, wow, I'm just so fascinated by what I'm seeing here. I've never seen anything like this. And, you know, as I do, started talking to people and people saw the camera and started asking questions. And this guy was like, hey, you want to commute with my family? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a once in a lifetime experience. Let's go.
yeah. I mean, like. I mean, I guess I don't know if we would do something like that in the U.S. To be honest, like just hey, here's a stranger. Let's invite him out. But this man brought you to his home. Uh, got you. You got. I'm 100% sure the food was delicious.
It was so good. It was so good, man.
Yeah, but like I mean, that's like in other countries, like you kind of see like this guy inviting you to into his home. He just met you for like the very first time in his life, and I mean I found that like like that's so not something we would ever do in this country. It's just
Never,
meet someone. Yeah, never we
never.
never do that. But I mean, Bangladesh.
If it was Christmas Day and there was, you know, some kid of a different color walking around, probably call the cops on him in a
Yeah,
lot of neighborhoods in the
unfortunately, yeah,
United States.
that's
So
what's going on in the United States. Unfortunately, yeah.
I was
So
very moved by their kindness.
yeah, and then, I mean that food. It was like I was watching it, and I was like, oh man, I wish I could hang out with Brent Timm and do this kind of stuff. Like people inviting us to have Eid to celebrate Eid with them, this delicious food, and to be with their family. Treating you as like as if you're one of their own. Like their brother or their cousin. That's something. It was really nice about the people of Bangladesh, and I guess for the most part, the hospitality in Bangladesh for you was excellent.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, a lot of people ask me to compare Pakistan and Bangladesh because they're so similar. But I mean, they really are similar. I mean, like the hospitality was the same. if you would not have told me what country I was in, they'd be virtually indistinguishable just based on the character of the people, based on the kindness of the people that I met there. So yeah, unforgettable hospitality. The world could learn a lot. Americans, I mean, I can't speak for the world, but I can speak for Americans because I'm one of them. Americans could learn a heck of a lot about uh,
About the
kindness,
hospitality. Yeah, of course.
understanding.
Yeah, and so I found it interesting because, like I said, I do watch a lot of travel vlogs, and I remember I think you went to the it was the market in Chittagong that you went to, and you were looking for an umbrella, and one of the guys called you. He said you were cute or beautiful, something like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I found it weird, not weird, but I found it coincidental because you mentioned earlier backpacker Ben, who actually he has some he's back in Bangladesh. But I remember he actually had to leave Bangladesh because he was feeling overwhelmed with it. And so, did you ever feel like overwhelmed in the country?
I mean, the closest to overwhelmed was that cricket match, but there was never a sense of like, I got to get out of here. Um, I definitely, towards the end, I was a little burnt out, a little exhausted just because I had gotten sick. I don't know, maybe I had the COVID. I don't know what, but I was really sick for like a week. And I was just like, man, I need some fresh air because again, no secret, Doc is extremely polluted. And I was like,
Right.
I'm going crazy with this pollution and the traffic just beat the brakes
Oh
off
yes,
me. The
DACA traffic.
traffic,
Yes, I've
it
heard
took
it's
no
very bad.
prisoners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
I wanted to play a game with you. I want not a game, but like I was going to give you like a list of countries and see if you would ever visit them. But I'm pretty sure you would visit them. But there are two countries in particular that I want to just get your thoughts on if you would ever try to visit. First one is Afghanistan. Would you ever try to visit Afghanistan or want to
you
visit
you
Afghanistan?
you read my mind, man. I had a feeling that was going to be one of the first that you would ask for. So kind of getting back to, I do want to visit every country on earth.
Right.
Um, I have seen that videos in Afghanistan are an incredible boost for content creators.
Yes.
Um, but at the end of the day, like, is my safety worth the story? Is sacrificing that? I mean, truly, it's the wild, wild west out there. It's unpredictable. There
Yes.
was there's like a big news story. Some guy from the UK, I think, he's been kidnapped by the Taliban. No one's heard from him for months. Um, I think he was definitely stepping on some stones, or stepping on some shoes over there that he shouldn't have
Right.
done. But yeah, I would
Mhm.
like to visit there someday. I have an opportunity to visit there. I know a woman who's recently visited there. Um, and yeah, I've seen Bald and Bankrupt's videos where he's gone there. But now is just not the time. Just like danger vlogging. I have a dangerous country in mind that I am thinking about going to. But yeah, at this point, it's not for me.
But I'm like eventually maybe if the situation ever changes, like it becomes, I guess, friendlier to Westerners.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah. Would you?
then I would
Yeah.
visit in a heartbeat. My
Okay.
opportunity to go involves me going um, to a with a group, and I'm not the biggest fan of group travel just because I like to do my own thing. Number one, number two, I don't know how comfortable they are with the camera.
Okay.
Um, so it's tough. It's tough when you juggle other people into the equation. Obviously, there's safety in numbers.
I mean, and it's like when I watch your vlogs, it's like you have a freedom. Like you just like to go outside with the camera and just like mingle with the people and do that. Like Afghanistan may not, afford that to you right now. May not give that to you right now.
Yeah, yeah. That and people are always like, "Oh, let me be your tour guide. Let me show you around the city." And I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, in my mind, the audience is the person that's coming with me. I want them
Right.
to see it
Okay.
through my eyes, through my uneducated, through my surprised, through my bewildered eyes. Not so much, hey, I'm going to take you here, I'm going to take you here, I'm going to take you here, I'm going to take you here. That makes sense in some situations. For instance, I mean, it's not a spoiler. I don't care. I'm in India right now, and I'm doing these crazy food tours every day. I'm filming like 3 vlogs a day, and I don't know what the heck I'm eating. Half the foods I can't pronounce them. I don't even know what they're called. I can't understand the accents, and so it's not like maybe in this situation I would like someone to accompany me for the food.
Right.
Um, but I've also noticed that when I'm with somebody, people are a lot less likely to come up and approach me. And so, kind of not having the spontaneity of that, taking that part away would be kind of a bummer. But yeah, it's tough.
So from Afghanistan, I want to stay in Asia. I think you probably have an idea of what country I'm going to ask you about next. Uh, North Korea. Would you ever want to visit North Korea?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I'm going to South Korea actually in 2 weeks. So
Okay.
I haven't even thought about this. I guess there is an opportunity for me to like I don't know see North Korea or visit North Korea. I think they're and I know like Drew Binsky went there in the past. I have no idea what the current climate or situation is there. I might hop on TikTok tonight now that I think about it and take a look at what's been going on there. But yeah, man, when it I think I would be fine there, you know. But I guess perhaps the most dangerous country I could go to right now would be Russia.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Russia. Fascinating, gigantic country. Um, I promise you, once the doors open, I will be one of the first people there. Um, Truly, no idea what it would be like for me to go there now. Especially, I also got to think about getting back to the United States if if I had a Russian stamp on the passport.
Right.
So,
Right.
the next 3 months at least are kind of planned out. Um, and so 2024 remains ambiguous at this point. So, anything could happen next year. But the most popular questions I get in my inbox every day are when are you coming back to Pakistan, when are you coming back to Bangladesh? And I appreciate that people loved what I did so much that they want to see me back in their country. But at the same time, I would hope people would also be just as excited to see me in other countries um,
Uh,
as well.
like the one thing I love about your videos is that y- it seems like you're willing to give like any country and put like a positive light, a positive spin on the country. I shouldn't say spin, but like a positive light on the country because like I love the way you get out there and hey, you want to take a selfie? Go ahead, take a selfie with me. I mean, maybe there should be a selfie limit. Like, say, okay, you get one or two big. Don't like sit there and snap like 50 pictures of me, But, um, yeah, like I love. That's what like one of the reasons why I love watching your videos is because of the way you are out there amongst the people. You don't like look down on people, and you want to be like a freedom. Like you're walking down the street, you see something that looks interesting. Oh, this looks interesting. Let's walk down here. Let's see what's going on here. In your last, and one, I think it was like one of your last videos where you went to a village and you bought some snacks for everyone. So that's the kind of stuff. That's the good stuff. Doing your act of kindness a day, I guess, is what you're doing. Um, so Pakistan. I know you spent like almost 6 months in Pakistan.
No, 104 20 days in Pakistan.
Oh, so 4 months. My math is off. Sorry. Yeah, that's 4 months. Yeah, about 4 months. So you know, is does the media does the media portray Pakistan correctly in your eyes or no? Yes or no?
That's a complex question because, you know, at least for me growing up watching the news, most countries ending in stan, have
Right.
this negative connotation to them. And I think a lot of the negativity when it comes to Pakistan has to do with, well, it's a relatively new country. It was formed from, bloody conflict, and they have nuclear weapons. And it was also, the country that harbored Osama bin Laden.
Yes.
And so I think those things have just left a very bad taste in the mouth of a lot of people. And I, I can only speak as an American, but I do know there's that people in the UK and England have negative connotations when it comes to Pakistani people because there's a large influx of Pakistani migrants coming, and kind of as we see in the U.S., some people who aren't keen on immigration don't agree with the amount of migrants, the pace they're coming in, and you know their style of life. It can just boil down to racism. But to kind of sum everything up, at the end of the day, when you look at a country, what are you really looking at? You are looking at the actions of that country's government to define that country, so to speak. So yes, I'm an American, but the government of today, the government of 10 years ago, the government of 100 years ago doesn't necessarily reflect me or my values or anything about me. But just because country and government are so closely intertwined that it's impossible to separate those things at all. So yeah, I'm sure, I think the media does give a bad rap to Pakistan because the only time you're going to hear about Pakistan is when some sort of tragedy has occurred or when there's some sort of government dispute. But that's news in general. News is always trending negative. Um, but I think there was always this misconception that, oh, it's dangerous, and I'm like, well, dangerous for who? Dangerous for the neighboring countries that may see it as a threat because it's a nuclear weapons holder, or dangerous for tourists, dangerous for me as a white guy. And that's what I like disproving. To the ignorant, they'd be like, "What are you doing going there? It's the most dangerous place on earth." And I'm like, we'll see about that.
Well, I wanted like one experience you had that as a cricket fan, you got to meet Pakistani cricket legend Shahid Afridi. Like, can you tell us like how did that come about?
Yeah, so that was a that was a crazy, kind of funny experience. So I had partnered with a real estate company. This guy found me from one of my random videos and said he wanted to work with me. Someone reached out to me on who knows what platform. Next thing you know, I'm staying in this mansion in Lahore, or sorry, in Karachi with this guy, and he's like, "Oh, we can get you to meet Shahid Afridi." I'm like, "Oh wow, man, that would be cool. Cool, let's do it." And so, I didn't know the nature of the meeting or what was going to take place. They told me I'd only have a few minutes to talk to him. They wanted to the real estate company was filming their own commercial at the time or something. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just carrying my vlog camera. I'm just gonna be myself. I'm just gonna try to talk to this guy. Well, immediately upon showing up at his village or farmhouse or estate or whatever, um, the former Prime Minister Imran Khan was the victim of an assassination attempt, and I wasn't aware of that until after we left, and so that kind of shortened everything. So we all sat down, and there was this fear in the air that all these roads were going to be shut down, that it wouldn't be safe for me to be alone. Um, and so that really cut our time short. So I'd hoped to ask him a few more questions, but I mean, yeah, he definitely gave off that, like, I mean, he's a superstar, probably the most famous person I've ever met. And there's definitely a sense that this guy's got way better things to do than talk to this this idiot white guy with the camera. I was very thankful that he talked to me. And after I asked him that question, he made a joke to the guy I was working with and said, "Oh, I should have charged him for that or something." Oh my god, I thought that was
I
funny,
mean,
you know.
but I mean, just like in the moment, like you said, like there was a attempt on Imran Khan to assassinate him. Like, I mean, you're like an American, and there's like there's some with Imran Khan's government and with the American government that the Americans don't want him in, like something like that. So, I mean, at the moment, they could have actually thought you were like a spy or something
Yeah, yeah.
in that moment. Yeah,
Anything could have been possible, and
yeah,
I had gone to an Imran Khan rally just by coincidence in my first like 3 days in Lahore. Not knowing really anything about him or what was going on. But I met someone there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well your government, the American government, was um, instrumental in ousting him and like orchestrating this coup." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know anything about that. Obviously, I didn't know anything about that. They're not talking about
yeah,
that in America." And I'm like, "Oh, interesting. So maybe these people think that all Americans don't like Imran Khan, or maybe they blame me or blame America." So
yeah.
that was interesting. That was quite unexpected.
And in Pakistan, I don't want to compare, but like, was the hospitality pretty much was the same as Bangladesh? I would assume
1-to-1, exactly the same.
1-to-1. And now, I mean, you mentioned you're in India right now. You're doing a lot of food vlogs. I've seen the street food, so that's something to look forward to for all you guys. For all you guys listening, Brent's in. You got to get to Sri Lanka next, man. You've been to Pakistan, you've been to Bangladesh, you're in India now. I guess Sri Lanka has to be. I mean, somewhere in 2024, right?
Yeah, Sri Lanka and Nepal are definitely
Yeah,
next year for sure.
yeah. I mean, it's such a privilege for me to talk to you. Someone who you watch on, you know, YouTube. You know, I mean, like 20 years ago, this wasn't possible. Like, becoming a kind of like a little celebrity. People like recognizing you on the streets in these countries, telling you, "Oh, I've seen your vlogs." I've seen it's like, speak a little bit about that, like how you feel, like when people come say, "Yeah, yeah, I watched your vlog, and I watched your Cox's Bazaar blog," or when you went to Hunza Valley, like when they're watching you and they're watching you in other countries. Like, how does that make you feel that people are actually watching your work?
It's still a surreal feeling. It's still incredibly. It's humbling. It's surprising almost. Um, it doesn't feel like real life at all. This is um, I've got a lot of high hopes about the future because I've only really seriously focused on YouTube hardcore for the past year, and I've really only dug into two countries hardcore. And just from those two countries, we're about to cross 100,000 subscribers here, hopefully in the next couple months. And it's got me excited for the future. It's got me excited to visit other countries. But yeah, just glad that the videos are doing what they're intended to do, and that's to entertain people and to make them happy, to make them laugh, and just to change the way that they look in the world and hopefully inspire some people to go travel themselves.
So, very so we've been here for just about an hour. Thank you so much for your graciously giving us your time today. One last question I want to ask you is about just a little bit about like the language barrier when you're in some of these countries. Like, is it should you learn a few phrases before you go to a country, or should
Always,
you just go? Yeah,
always, 1,000%, because it's about respect. It's about making a connection. Um, there is, there is, I really enjoy communicating with people and making these connections. And, I don't want to be everybody else where, I don't want to be just another tourist where I show up and don't learn anything about the language, don't learn anything about about the culture. So, and it helps me feel a little smarter too. It's always good to work out the old brain every now and
Right.
then.
Well, I mean, you're in India right now. There's a pretty big cricket match. There's an India Pakistan match. I think it's gonna be played on Sunday. So you might maybe we'll see a vlog on that. Who knows?
Oh
I don't
man,
know.
yeah, I know like the Asia Cup
Yeah.
is going on
Yes.
right now. Let me
Yeah.
look it up right now. I don't think it's
Yeah.
in this country, right? It's
No, no. That yeah, India. That game is gonna be played in I think Sri Lanka.
okay, okay.
But in I believe next month there's gonna be an India Pakistan match in India. It's the World Cup. It's another World Cup
Man,
in October.
that would
Yeah.
be a that would be a bucket list item.
Yeah. I
I
mean, the billions of people that watch that match, unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, talk about excitement, and that's something where I'd love to be there. Um, no idea what getting tickets for anything like that would be like for like one of the most sought after matches of the year. You dig?
Yeah. Oh man. So I mean, I've had so much fun speaking with you. I'll definitely keep in touch with you on social media. I have you on WhatsApp. So I mean, don't be a stranger. If you're ever in New York, you know, feel free to hit me up. We'll grab some biryani or something because that's like my favorite dish in the world.
Hey man, if you want to be a part of a vlog, I am doing a New York series where we're going to focus on some Pakistani Bangladeshi food within the next 2 months here. I will be in New York filming a series. I don't know if you follow Righteous Eats. Um, but hopefully he and I are going to connect and create something special out there. But yeah, man, I love New York, and it's been too long since I've been there. I've been too long since I've created some good United States content as well. So looking forward to that. Not looking forward to the prices that I'm gonna have to
No, no,
face.
you're not. Yeah. Well, Brent, this was such an honor and a pleasure. Yeah. So if when you're in New York, give me a shout. I'm definitely going to keep watching your videos because I love your content. When you're in New York, I would love to be a part of a vlog. And yeah, man, let's keep in touch. And I hope you found some more followers after listening to us today. And this is such a treat for me. That you took time out from your busy schedule to find an hour to speak with us today. And I hope wish you nothing but success in your years to come. I hope you get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, man. I really hope you do. And thank you so much for your time, and for everyone else listening out there. You know, thank you, and we will always. I always say we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you so much, brother. This was great. You're a great interviewer. I really enjoyed it. Take
Thank
care,
you.
man. And ciao for now, brother.
Ciao for now. All right, and one last time before we do end it. If you missed it earlier, just search Brent Timm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and you'll find Brent. You'll find his content, and who knows, you may stay like Friday night. You may just spend Friday night in. You heard of Netflix and chill. Well, how about Brent Timm and chill? How about that? But tonight, just do it. Yeah, you'll love his content. You'll love where he is, and there's always something unexpected that happens. And Brent, thank you so much for your time once again. And like I said, to my listeners, we will catch you on the next one.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.